Picture this. It's the end of the month. Your salary just hit your account. For about 12 hours, you feel rich. Then the notifications start rolling in. Rent, credit card, subscriptions you forgot you even had. A random charge that makes you squint at your screen like, when did I agree to this? And by the next morning, that money is already gone. Not because you're irresponsible, but because the system extracted it before you even had a chance to think. Now here's the uncomfortable question. If you make more money than your parents did, why does it feel like you're constantly one surprise away from panic? Because in 2026, managing money is no longer about budgeting. It's about playing a completely different game. The top 1% aren't richer because they work harder. They're richer because they follow rules most people don't even know exist. Today, I'm going to show you how they manage money. Not with hustle, not with crypto fantasies, but with quiet systems that protect them from stress, inflation, and bad decisions. And once you see these rules, you won't be able to unsee why most people stay stuck forever. The top 1% don't track money. They control cash flow. Here's the first mistake almost everyone makes. They obsess over how much they earn instead of how money moves through their life. Most people live like this. Money comes in. Money immediately leaks out. Whatever's left decides their future. The top 1% reverse this. They don't ask, can I afford this? They ask, where does this dollar go before I touch it? Example, the average earner versus the 1% thinker. Let's say two people both make $100,000 a year. Same salary, same city, same taxes. Person A lets the paycheck hit their main account. From there, rent, bills, lifestyle, and impulse spending fight for leftovers. Person B never lets the money land freely. The moment income arrives, it's pre-divided. A portion disappears into investments they never see. A portion is locked into long-term savings. A portion is assigned for fixed costs. Only the remainder is spendable. Person B feels poorer day to day, but becomes wealthy quietly, automatically. That's the difference. The 1% don't rely on discipline. They rely on architecture. This is why you see people making six figures who still panic over a $1,000 emergency. They earn well, but they experience money emotionally, not structurally. Every expense feels like a decision. Every purchase feels like a trade-off. Every surprise feels like a threat. But what exactly do they do differently with their income, especially in a world of AI layoffs, inflation, and unstable careers? That's where the second rule comes in. And it explains why rich people stay calm while everyone else feels constantly behind. The top 1% don't build emergency funds. They build buffers. Most financial advice tells you to build an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses. Park it in a savings account. Don't touch it unless something goes wrong. That advice is fine. But it's not how the top 1% actually operate. Because emergencies aren't the real problem. Friction is. The top 1% don't prepare for disasters. They eliminate the conditions that create panic in the first place. They build buffers. What a buffer really is. A buffer is money that sits between you and bad decisions. Absorbs shocks before they reach your life. Gives you time to think instead of react. Imagine your tire blows out tomorrow. No buffer, you panic. Put it on a credit card. Or worse, delay the fix. The delay causes more damage. The problem compounds. What started as $200 becomes $1,500. With a buffer, you fix it the same day. No interest, no stress, no spiral. Same problem, radically different outcome. The top 1% win not because problems avoid them, but because problems never get a chance to grow. A person without a buffer stays in bad jobs longer. They tolerate disrespect. They accept burnout. They say yes to things they hate. Not because they want to, but because quitting feels dangerous. A person with a buffer behaves differently. They push back in meetings, decline bad projects, negotiate harder, walk away faster. Same skill level, same job market, different financial posture. If you feel constantly anxious about money, it's usually not because you earn too little. It's because you have no margin, no pause button, no breathing room, no space between income and obligation. And in 2026, with layoffs, AI disruption, and volatile markets, margin matters more than income growth. But there's one rule they follow that feels almost backwards, and it explains why they get richer during chaos while everyone else feels paralyzed. It's about how they spend, not how much. And once you understand this rule, you'll stop trying to save money forever. The top 1% spend more, but on fewer, smarter things. This part usually makes people uncomfortable because the top 1% aren't cheap. They're not minimalists. They don't cut back forever. They actually spend aggressively, just not where most people do. The difference isn't discipline, it's precision. Most people spread money thin. Here's how most people spend: a little on convenience, a little on stress relief, a little on status, a little on impulse, a little on subscriptions, a little on upgrades. Nothing feels expensive. Everything feels justified. But collectively, it drains cash, focus, and momentum. This is why people say, "I don't know where my money goes," because it goes everywhere. The 1%. Do the opposite. The top 1% are ruthless about one thing. They eliminate recurring friction. They ask one question before spending big: will this permanently lower the cost of my life? If the answer is yes, they spend fast. If the answer is no, they hesitate hard. A normal mindset says, $1,500 for a laptop is expensive. A 1% mindset says, will this save me time, errors, or stress for the next 5 years? If the answer is yes, they buy once they stop thinking about it. They move on. Same with reliable cars, quality mattresses, good tools, preventive healthcare, education that compounds. They don't buy upgrades. They buy problem eliminators. Time is the real expense. Here's the hidden rule most people miss. The top 1% don't optimize for money. They optimize for time and energy. They gladly spend money to avoid repetitive decisions, reduce cognitive load, eliminate recurring annoyances. Because mental fatigue leads to bad decisions, and bad decisions are expensive. Most people think saving is about saying no. The top 1% understand. Saving is about saying no to everything except the few things that matter. They don't ask, "Is this worth the money?" They ask, "Is this worth the attention?" That's why their finances feel simple, even at scale. But there's one final rule that ties everything together, and it explains why they stay rich even when income disappears. It's about how they think about risk. And this is where most people get it completely wrong. The quiet truth about wealth. Wealth isn't flashy. It's calm, predictable, flexible, boring. The loudest money advice is usually wrong. The richest people you'll ever meet drive normal cars, live below their means, control their baseline, protect optionality. Because wealth isn't what you buy. It's what you don't have to worry about. If you've watched this far, here's the real takeaway. Managing money like the top 1% in 2026 isn't about earning more. You don't need a raise to start. You don't need perfect discipline. You don't need to get rich quick. You just need to stop playing defense. If this video helped you see money differently, share it with someone who's stressed but doing everything right. And subscribe, because on this channel, we don't chase hype. We break the invisible rules that actually control your financial life. See you in the next one.